I remember how my great Uncle Jerry would sit on the porch and whittle all day long. Once he whittled me a toy boat out of a larger toy boat I had. It was almost as good as the first one, except now it had bumpy whittle marks all over it and no paint because he had whittled off the paint. Jack Handy Deep Thoughts. This guy is amazing. So now that you got your entertainment for the night out of the way, I figured I would teach you guys a tutorial. So that was kind of a weird intro, but sometimes it's necessary to get your attention. So what have we learned so far? We learned that an if statement can test a condition to see if it's true or false. If it's true, it'll do something. Simple enough. Then we learned the if else, and this pretty much tests two conditions. If it's true, do this. If it's false, do this. Pretty much black and white. Now, to get into more complex, we did nested if else. And that was alright with like testing three conditions. But once we want to test like 4 and 5, we would have to nest stuff and nest stuff and nest stuff. And, we're not a bird. We can't nest all this stuff. So we need an easier way. We got a way to test one condition if. Two conditions if else. Three conditions nested if, that's alright. 4, 5, no way we're nesting all that stuff. So what is a way where we can test several conditions with a simple syntax? Well, you are in luck because in this tutorial you're about to learn how. It's called else if. Oh yeah, you heard me right. We already learned if, we already learned else, we learned nested if else, but now we're going to learn else if. Is that confusing enough for you yet? Well, it won't be in just a second. So check this out. Let's go ahead and we're going to make a program that it's going to have to take more than two variables, not like what's your name, male, female, 1, 2. It's going to have to take several. So what we're going to be building is a way that they can enter the time, and depending on what time it is, it's going to enter either morning, afternoon, or if they enter something weird, it'll just be like, what the F time is it or something. So that's three options we're working with here. And trust me, by the end, you'll understand how this works. So enough of just random talking. Let's actually get the program so we can actually understand what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and make a variable called time, and we're going to have them enter the time. So let's put in an nslog and put like enter the FN time, because we really want to get their attention here. Might as well put an exclamation point. And now, since we were so mean, we might as well give them an opportunity to enter it using scanf. So of course they're going to enter an integer, so put %i, and then point that to, what's it, time. That looks good. So now whatever integer they enter is going to be stored in the variable time. So now let's go ahead and make what we learned before. And this is military time, by the way. It goes from, they can either enter 0 to like 24. It's like that's what we'll do, because that's a nice way you can use integers for time, because if not, if they enter 4, you'd be like, is this morning or afternoon? So we're using military time for this program. A little background. So let's go ahead and do what we learned so far. If time is less than, let's say, 11, I don't know when morning officially ends. If you do, leave me a comment. nslog. Let's put like, good morning to ya. Like a pirate, of course, because why wouldn't we? And now, since we're going to be having like, we'll do like 16 for afternoon, which is actually like 4 o'clock in military time, and we'll do 24 at the end of the day, and anything after that we'll just put else, because they can't have more than 24 because there's not more than 24 hours in a day. So let's go ahead, and in order to give them several other conditions to test, we need to put else if. So let's go ahead and put else if time is less than 16, which means if time is less than 4 o'clock, what are we going to log? We already took care of morning. If they entered a time that was less than 11 o'clock, it's morning. If they entered a time that was less than 16, which is 4 o'clock, it'd be like afternoon. And now let's go ahead and make another else if right here, and we'll test for 24. And 24, and it'll say good night, Haas. And if they enter a number that's greater than 24, let's just go ahead and put else right there. And now you see it says statements. So if they enter a number that was more than 24, then that isn't even a time at all. So let's go ahead and put, what the F did you even enter? They probably enter like a letter or something. So let me run this real quick, and then I'll explain to you guys why it works, as long as I didn't get any errors. Enter F in time. Wow, that is kind of harsh, isn't it? It's not so much when you're on the receiving end of that, but let's go ahead and enter 9 in the morning. Good morning to you. Building around this baby again. Enter F in time. Let's enter like 18. Good night, Haas. Build and run. Enter F in time, and then we'll enter like 99. And it says, what the F did you even enter? So let me explain why this works. Well, first of all, you're saying, alright, if I entered something like 18, then this would be true. Excuse me. If I entered a time like 7 o'clock, well, 7 is less than 11, but it's also less than 16, and it's also less than 24. So why does it know to say good morning to you? Well, whenever you have an if, else if, and you can have as many of these else ifs, it doesn't matter. As long as you have these in the same block of code, it's going to exit the entire block as soon as it comes to one condition that is true. So for example, as soon as it meets one condition that's true, then it's going to exit. So if it hits true on this one and it's less than 11, it's not even going to check this one or this one or this one. It's only looking for one true thing. So for example, you could write on this one, else if the time is greater than 11 and less than 16, using that, conditional operator, but there really isn't a need for that, since we already know if we enter 12 and this proves false, then we already know that it's greater than 11. So for example, if you enter something like 6 and you say, alright, well then all of these, good morning, good afternoon, good night, they should all pop up. That's not the case, because as soon as a condition proves true, it executes that statement and then it skips all the rest of these because it already found its option. So that's the basics of what I'm trying to teach you in this tutorial. Again, that's else if, and that's a better way to use a test, not if, not else, but when you have many options that you want to give the user, that's the best way to do it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next tutorial. By the way, my trip to Florida was awesome.